Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. We're reaching the dizzy heights of 2 podcasts in a week for the first time in a while. I'm delighted to be joined, first of all, by Ross. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Few weeks, I think it's maybe a couple of weeks we've been on. But I looking forward to getting stuck into it and getting a blather with the boys. Obviously off the back of a tremendous performance and result during the week there.
100%, plenty to talk about. And little James, how are you, man?
Aye, all good, mate. Same as Ross. I think the last time Ross was on was the last time I was on as well. And we've had a good few weeks since then, so I looking forward to it.
Aye, part-timers while me and Jed have been holding the fort. And Jed, what about yourself, mate? You all good?
Yeah, first Friday been on in ages, and like I said, I met James at Hampden at the semi-final. He was stalking me a wee bit. I felt sending me pictures, and then I went to try and find him, and I got him.
Nice. I'm sure there was some chocolate fingers going around as well. Then it'll be joined by Christoph in the comments and Kevin Cardy as well. So everyone, welcome along who's watching and also going to catch up. And Ross, like you said, I mean, we'll have to start at RB Leipzig. Fantastic performance and fantastic European night at Celtic Park. The atmosphere was incredible. Like we always do, it's a tradition on this podcast, just to kind of overview of the game briefly. First of all, starting with the starting lineup, a few calls in there. Alex Valle was dropped. Greg Taylor came back in. Austin Trusty was preferred ahead of Liam Scales. Are they deserved calls, in your opinion? I mean, Scales hasn't done much wrong. Alex Valle's impressed, and especially in the game against Aberdeen in the League Cup.
Well, to be fair, it was pretty much the team I had, except for Valle, and everybody knows what I think of Greg Taylor, but I had Valle in the team. But Brendan Rodgers obviously has given reasons since as to why he was in the team. I think it's evident now in certain areas of the pitch, i.e. probably centre back, probably left back, maybe striker, even maybe one or two slots in the middle of the park, depending on the fixture. He will chop and change it to suit it. I think I said last year that when Brendan Rodgers came in, that you would see him use the squad more than what Ange Postecoglou did. I think we're starting to see the evidence of that now. But listen, I've said it before. I've not got any issues with Greg Taylor playing. I've not got any issues with Valle playing, and that's testament to how well Valle's done since he's come in. In terms of the trusty one, again, Brendan Rodgers gave reasons as to why he started Trusty against Aberdeen. I think probably it's the same reasons against RB Leipzig. I think against the teams who Brendan Rodgers thinks is going to be more of a threat to Celtic, I think you'll see Trusty starting. But Scales came on and he done absolutely brilliant, as well as everybody else on the night. Everybody came on, everybody started. It was seamless. It was a brilliant performance. We obviously started the game really, really well. We're controlling a lot of the possession of the ball, but then RB Leipzig, I don't know how you felt, but after about, I think it was maybe 20 minutes, they started to, it was as if they'd worked us out and they started getting a bit of a foothold in the game. Then they obviously get the corners in that Campo. What a delivery that guy's got, I have to say. And obviously they get the goal and we're spooked for 10-15 minutes and we lose our way. And it's like the script that we've all seen before. We've started well, but then the quality team punish you at the other end. And it, for all the world, looked like it was going to sort of peter out into one of the standard Celtic performances in Europe. But credit to them, they managed to get a foothold back in the game and they get their confidence back. And it was an outstanding performance to turn that around in the way they did, and then to carry that on into the second half. I know getting that goal right before half time, it sort of gives you up going into half time. I still think we needed half time just to regroup, and we came out in the second half and we absolutely bossed for me, top European side. They're second in the Bundesliga. They regularly finish or get to the last 16, last 8 of this competition, albeit it's a different format now. But that was a very, very, very good European team that we beat the other night. And at times Celtic made them look ordinary, and they were absolutely fantastic on the night.
Yeah, we were superb. We'll come on to the goals as well. Some fantastic goals, and by the players involved in that. And James, see, for me beforehand, I was listening to Sports Sound. I was dropping off the kids back to their mum's house, and was rushing back to the Cats that started the game, and they brought on a German expert who obviously talks about the Bundesliga and German football. And I think it was Kenny McIntyre was asking what they think of the Scottish League and they think of Celtic. And your man does turn around very ignorantly and went, we think they're a second or third grade team and a very easy team basically for RB Leipzig to face. And I mean, hearing them comments, even in the car on the way back, I was like, what the fuck? It enraged me. Do you know what I mean? That disrespect towards a team playing at a decent level and also giving their all in the Champions League campaign and doing quite well as well in that fact. And I just think, is like what Ross said, would be a really good European team. And what I always see that creeps in after these results is maybe they aren't good enough. Maybe they aren't the team we thought they were. And maybe Celtic got them on a rotten day or a bad day. But in this case, in this instance, I thought we were excellent to a man. I thought the crowd brought for it. I think you and Jed were at the game, weren't you? I believe.
Right.
Yeah, so the crowd looked amazing. The tifo by the Green Brigade, it was spine-tingling. And what was your thoughts going into the game, James? Obviously, the German experts that we were listening to were telling us that they were better in Dortmund. I mean, where were you standing with it?
I know a lot of people were saying they would have taken a draw before the game. And to be fair, I would have probably been the same as well. But I think that we put a bit too much of a fear factor into them. Look, they're obviously a great team. They've got brilliant players, but it was what we were saying in the way home on the bus as well. Like if it was the old format and you drew Red Bull Leipzig as your pot one team, you'd be fancying it. You'd back yourself against them as the pot one side. So look, we made them look ordinary. I mean, your senior man said that Celtic were a second or third rate team in Europe. I mean, if we watched that game, there was only one team on that park that looked like a second rate team, and it wasn't Celtic. But no, probably the most complete performance, the best performance in Europe for quite some time, and it's unusual for Celtic in Europe. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself, Jed maybe be different, but even getting into the last 20 minutes after we scored that third goal, you think it's going to be all right. There's going to be a sting in the tail somewhere, there's going to be a goal, it's going to be backs to the wall for the last 10 minutes, but honestly, see if we put the board up for injury time and we played another 25 minutes, I think we would have still been comfortable. After, as Ross said, we had a wee kind of helter-skelter 5 minutes either side, them going 1-0 up. But apart from that, I thought we absolutely strolled it. It was 3 going on probably 5 or 6 with a couple of the chances that we had. And long may it continue. Hopefully we can carry that on to the games to come in Europe that are still remaining, because on paper, that's probably 3 or hardest 4 games out the way, and then you're looking at 3 games, Bruges, Young Boys and Zagreb away, where you'd probably fancy yourself to take 6 at a minimum, if no 7 or 9. So it's good times and really liking this new format, and long may it continue.
Funny you mentioned Club Bruges. Me and Jeb were speaking before we went live there, and they actually beat Aston Villa, so I don't think they're a team that can be underestimated. I think Dynamo Zagreb are also on 7 points, so they're having a decent Champions League campaign by the looks of it, so we can't be complacent against these things, but I don't understand what you're saying, James. You do expect a win and a draw maybe in these running results, which would guarantee us into the last round of 32. But Jed, what about yourself? How was the atmosphere before the game? It looked amazing on the TV. I mean, Joe Hart was even speaking about it in co-commentary that you couldn't even hear yourself think, and it just looked incredible.
Yeah, it was. I mean, even James will back me up with this, even going to the park, because it was fireworks night as well. They were just, the sky was alight with colour. I was joking with my daughter, saying that the Leipzig fans are probably thinking, God, is this what it's like on a European night all the time? Just happened to be that night. Yeah, just echo what James said. I thought, especially the last 10 minutes, we totally controlled the game. We passed, we were phenomenal, unbelievable. I knew, I said before it was going to be tough, because listen, they are no mugs. Let's not kid ourselves, they are no mugs. But also as well, guys, and I did send you this, but I just want to read this out to what, in case anybody's not seen this. This is from the Leipzig player Kevin Kempel, I think it's how you pronounce it. We tried to press Celtic high up the park, but they always had an answer to us. They didn't allow themselves to be dispossessed and kept the ball. We were always a step too late against them and we had to run all night. It actually felt like we were continuously running all game like we were in a marathon. There was nothing more we could do about it in the second half. It took us 5 minutes or so to deal with the atmosphere. The double blow before half-time hurt us, and then of course the atmosphere came back. Celtic didn't panic, and when they were behind, and I have to say I was very impressed with them. That's the sort of comments you want to hear from an opposition player. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's the comments.
Oh,
fully, because that's what I put in the chat. Because it's far better getting comments like that. It's far better getting comments like that than when Tony Kroos said, "Oh, the atmosphere was great, but we still tanked you 3 or 4-0." Do you know what I mean? So you kind of outweigh that there. I mean, Kevin Campbell was very fair in his assessment. I actually laughed. I was reading the reaction of some newspapers put the reaction of the German media to the results, and the disrespect towards Celtic was quite incredible. And even Nicolas Kuhn, who we're going to come on to talk to, obviously he was a former RB Leipzig youth player. They were calling him the man with no name and all this, and it's just so disrespectful. And we absolutely destroyed them on the pitch anyway on that given night. And Ross, you mentioned that goal that Carter Vickers had a great assist, good flick on at the front post for their player to run in and put it past Joe Hart. And usually at that time, when that happens, it's very quickly after in a European game that a club would get a goal quite quickly off that, and then it's kind of backs against the wall and you're holding on, hoping it's not a tanking or a heavy defeat. It's kind of damage limitation. But do you think this comes from, and look, maybe not all stems from the Dortmund game, I can't say that, but there's been previous campaigns where this has happened and steadily, gradually we're growing. We got 4 points last year in Europe, we're on 7 already. Do you think the team can see these kind of phases of play out better than it did previously in terms of not going behind and not feeling that pressure from the fans? And kind of, as James said, the helter-skelter 5 minutes, either side that goal, we just rode it out, and then after that, wasn't plain sailing, but that's when we really kicked on and started playing football.
Well, I think in the evidence of the last 2 games, certainly the team have shown a bit more steel or at this level. But you have to acknowledge the fact that, as James said, there was about 5 minutes leading up to the goal where kind of lost their way a wee bit, and then the goal comes for a corner kick, and I'm in no way putting any blame on Kasper Schmeichel. He feels he has to deal with that. It's going by the post, but he doesn't, just deal with it. Goes out for a corner. On the face of it, it's a needless corner. But they get the goal, and then you have to say there was wayward passes for McGregor and other guys. Can't mind exactly who, but in the middle of the park, Maeda, that was the one where they were giving it away in that position where we've seen it so many times. And on another night, we're probably punished at 1-0 and we probably go down 2-0, and then you're really pissing into the wind, for wanting a better statement, after that. But somehow we get through that, and you have to say we get through it, but we get ourselves back into the game by playing our football and good football and getting our foot in the ball again and getting our passing going and really taking the sting out of the game. For large periods of the game, I felt like we passed for passing's sake, and we were picking our moments when we would up the tempo and really go at Leipzig with the press and stuff like that. So the game management, I have to say, holy shit, was brilliant. Was brilliant the other night, throughout the entirety almost, apart from that sort of 10-15 minute period in the middle of the first half. But I can't even mind what your question was, to be honest with you. I feel like I've went off on a tangent there.
And we're back.
Aye. Back with a bang.
No, but I was...
Ross, you want me to drop you off some medicine?
I was just saying that you actually answered it, to be fair, about Celtic kind of riding out the phase of play where we're slightly behind and not really getting control of the game. And I think Cal McGregor was great at that. After that kind of spell, he kind of took control of the game. And he was passing the ball simple. He was giving players touches. He was taking it back in. He was looking around him. He's playing the simple passes just to get, in my opinion, the squad and the first 11 just touches of the ball to get their confidence up and make manoeuvres into the final third and see what they do from there. And I thought it was good captain play. And also thought he was excellent on the night. I thought the whole midfield was. But if we kind of fast forward to the first goal, Jed, Arnie Engels with a lovely touch around the corner for Nicolas Kuhn, who drifted from the right-hand side past two RB Leipzig defenders, left them for dirt. And was it a cross? Was it a shot? We'll go, it was a shot. And it was a beautiful curl effort. And it looked like it was going away, but I think he used their defenders kind of a guidance almost, and it just went round, hit the post, in the back of the net. And he's been on fire. That goal was excellent, and Arnie Engels with a great assist.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, where I sit in the Jock Stein stand, I thought it was a shot and goal. I thought he went for it. I can understand why people are saying, was it a cross? Was it a shot? At the end of the day, who cares? It was in the back of the net. But yeah, he was fantastic. And on the Callum McGregor front, he made that mistake, as Ross mentioned earlier. But then after that, and I even said in the chat when I got home, that, in my opinion, has been the best game Callum McGregor has played in a long, long time. Now, I have been vocal on here where I've actually said, could you actually drop him? Because I felt he hadn't been to his usual standard. But his standard is usually so high, but he's just fell off. But oh my God, he was phenomenal the other night. He, honestly, and it was a Talk Sport. I think the next day there was a caller phoned in and he said the exact same. Callum McGregor was just, that's why, if people slagging him, they should have watched that game. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, so he was the conductor, the number 6 we always talk about, James. And I mean, what, again, I've seen online criticism of Arnie Engels. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I thought that performance against Leipzig was one of his best, and he does the dirty work so well. Maybe the final third of the pitch, he's not getting involved as much, but he provided a good assist to Kuhn, when many players would have maybe turned back and played that to AJ or played that to Carter Vickers, looking for the simple ball. He flicked it in between two players. Obviously, Nicolas Kuhn finished with a fantastic shot, but what do you make of that? I think he's getting unfair criticism. We talked about this last week as well, but he seems to be getting it on the neck now, week in, week out.
Mate, it's fucking coming for probably one of the two most negative people in this podcast. It's Dane Boxing sitting at the game, honestly. See the amount of times, it doesn't matter if he's having a good game, having a bad game, or somewhere in between. The shout is always, there's always £11 million mentioned in it somewhere. And you're like, right, we get that's what it was paid for, but look, we've said umpteen times, it doesn't guarantee success. And I think he's come in and he's been absolutely fine. And it's something that was actually seen earlier. I think probably it's not just him, to be fair, because Bernardo probably comes into the equation as well. But I think the biggest compliment that you can pay our midfield as a whole is that nobody's mentioned Matt O'Reilly. We've sold Matt O'Reilly, who was our star man last year, and we've not really mentioned him. Well, you'd love to have him, of course, but we're not really missing him. And I think that's probably the biggest kind of praise that you can afford to Engels and Bernardo, who's been good as well. But I really like the look of Engels. As you say, I think he gets a lot of unwarranted stick. Even the Aberdeen game, the 2-each game, excuse me, he was getting dogs abuse that game. And look, he didn't have his best game, but I don't think he was bad by any stretch. I think the wee pass, was it the first goal, the wee kind of outside the boot pass down the line, I don't really think there's anybody else in our team that would firstly try it and secondly pull
Kuhn.
that kind of pass off. Well, it's Kuhn that runs on it, I think, in it. But he put pretty much the same pass through for Maida on Tuesday night. But nah, look, I really like Engels. I think he's, as you say, he's getting a lot of unwarranted stick. And as I says to you in the group chat, us as a support, we sat here in the summer. Everybody, we sat in the summer and we wanted us to splash the cash, and we liked the sound of it. It was a guy who'd played a full season in the Bundesliga. He was a right good young age. He played in one of the top leagues in the world. He was just on the cusp, which he's since had, of international recognition with a decent international side. We've went out and put down 11 million for him, £11 million for him. Let's not hold that out his head anytime he's having a bad game. He's a young guy. He's coming in. Look, he's came for probably middle of the road at best, or middle of the league at best in the Bundesliga. And he's came to Celtic where you're expected, it doesn't matter if it was Leipzig on Tuesday night or it's Kilmarnock at Rugby Park on Sunday, you're expected to go out and you're expected to win. And that's a totally different kind of pressure, especially at such a young age when you're coming in and you're expected, rightly or wrongly, you're coming in expected to be the man purely because of your price tag. And I don't think he's let us down. I think he's been really good. And I'm looking forward to watching him again at the weekend if he's in the team.
Because I think...
Stephen, sorry,
go ahead,
can I
Jed.
take
Go ahead.
James said there? James, you're 100% right about Engels. And Stephen, you are as well. I thought the second half he was outstanding. But first and foremost, it is not Arnie Engels' fault he's an £11 million player. That was the price tag. So he shouldn't get any extra pressure for that. He's got no control over what people pay for him. And also you mentioned about Matt O'Reilly. I'll be missing him. I tell you one thing about him, Tuesday night when he was watching, he was missing not being at Celtic.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually a fair point. And what I think gets missed as well with the Arne Engels thing, Ross, and there's a comment I want to bring up to get your opinion on as well, but just firstly, at Augsburg, middle of the road, Bundesliga team, like James said, he was a number 6. He played as a right back, and I think he played as an auxiliary centre half at times, right? So his attacking kind of prowess isn't going to come to the fore. It's his running power, athleticism, his stature, what he gets done in and around the pitch, keep the ball tidy and win the ball back. So I think people are expecting him to come in, like James and Jed said there, about be that Matt O'Reilly player where you're scoring all the time, where you're assisting all the time. And sometimes players don't do that. It's not their skill set. And I don't think at this moment in time it's his either. And P. McLaughlin comes in. I think Bernardo at 3.5 million being in competition with Engels at 11 million and looking just as good as maybe just puzzling some fans at this moment in time. Would you go along with that thought? Because, I don't know, two different types of players, in my opinion.
I mean, there's probably an element to that. But for me, I've watched Arne Engels, obviously, like everybody else, in every single game he's featured in for Celtic, right? And like James, I don't think he's let us down. At times, there's been moments, he wasn't the only one in Dortmund that had a poor game. And there's been moments where he's given the ball away. But he's, as we've said, he's a young guy. Okay, he's £11 million. But Brendan Rodgers says he hasn't the finished article. But for me, Cal McGregor said when he first came in, he said as soon as we seen him in training, I've went, he's a player. That's enough for me. Cal McGregor plays football, he knows football. He watches guys training day in, day out, and his words were, he's a player. And he is a player. He's 21-year-old. He's a really good player. And I've not been on the podcast with you. I've been having conversations with guys, and I've been trying to, say different ways, how James explained it and stuff like that, about just he needs time and he's not going to be brilliant all the time. But I'm not going to take the credit for this. I listened to, I think it was the PMP during the week for the Bhoys bus. And for me, Russell Bhoys absolutely nailed it. He's playing in there with Reo Hatate, right, who's 26, 27-year-old. If he leaves, if Celtic sell him, we're looking to get 15 million for him. If Cal McGregor, maybe not so much now, but a few years back, or at his height when Rodgers wanted him at Leicester, what we're talking maybe 20 million for Cal McGregor. So he's playing alongside a £15 million player and a £20 million player, and he's an £11 million player, and he's expected to be the main man. Come on, you fuck. Geese peace. He's a very, very good player who's come into a big club, and as Brendan Rodgers explained, he's came from Augsburg where he's playing once a week. He's now playing twice, 3 times a week, and it's a big change. He's in a different culture. But for a guy at that age to come in and perform the way he has, and into the bargain, we've got ourselves an out-and-out penalty taker who can be relied upon. He's a very, very good player. His corner kicks, for me, are absolutely outstanding. And we've been missing that. Matt O'Reilly's corner kicks were good, but I think his delivery is better than Matt O'Reilly's. I'm not for 1 second saying he's a better player than Matt O'Reilly. They bring different attributes to the game. As you said, Stephen, I would say that Engels is probably more dynamic, more athletic. Matt O'Reilly was more kind of cultured. You see that through ball pass that he linked up brilliantly, probably better than Engels does with Kyogo at the moment. But Engels might well develop that in time. He's a really, really good footballer, and we've got a really, really good young player in our hands for £11 million. So what? If we paid 20 million or 2 million, I don't care. Arne Engels is a good player, and he's doing the business in a Celtic jersey right now, and that's good enough for me.
Ross, he's not even played 10 games yet.
Is that right, Jed?
I don't know.
Aye, there you go. Know what I mean? And
I think part of it's probably for want of a better word, the mentality thing because of the league that we play in as well. Because Engels gets the brunt of it because obviously he's the most expensive. But Austin Trusty was fucking assigned to the scrap heap after watching him against Falkirk and watching him in Dortmund as well. And he's totally flipped it on his head. I know it's been done to death. We've done it in the group chat with Adam Ida for 9 million, and everybody kind of thinks that we overpaid for him. Whether you do or you don't is to be seen. But look, we're signing these players. It's something that we've asked the board today time and time again. So when they go out and do it, and it's players that the manager has clearly wanted, I don't think we could sit here and say that it's a Lobel signing, a Desmond signing, whoever. Do you know what I mean? It's clearly Rodgers that's identified these players, and Adam Ida especially. We've pushed the boat out and brought them in. So why are we looking to go on their back so quickly, right away? And if they had come in and stunk the place out and been horrendous, then they would get criticism. But look, I don't think MD really covered himself in glory against Dortmund or particularly against Falkirk. But out with that, I think everybody that's come in, they've looked the part, they've looked absolutely fine. So I think we're just kind of making a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to maybe a slightly below par performance.
And Trusty looks like the player we always wanted in the back.
Aye.
To have, we can rotate the three of them now. And Trusty, he made a wee mistake. He gave a bad ball away, and they got a corner from, and then they got a corner immediately after that corner, and they got the goal. But apart from that, I thought he had an outstanding game. So he's coming on all the time. So it's now we're happy when, whether it's Carter Vickers, Scales, we can take any of the three combinations now. We're looking at the back with the parents.
Yeah. I felt like Brendan Rodgers there for a second. I had a joke in my head after what James was said, and that's just totally gone. No one will laugh at it. Time's passed. But in terms of players for us that took a while to settle in, as James said, stunk the place out. Maybe borderline that statement anyway. Let's talk about Nicolas Kuhn. That's where this conversation kind of came from in terms of the Engels assist. But let's focus on Nicolas Kuhn for a second and his kind of impact in that game. And I said that first goal was sublime. The second goal came 10 or so minutes after that, from unbelievable pressing that Celtic in Europe. It's insane, isn't it? Just watching this on your screen. And Rodgers has always hammered home about athleticism, power, pace, getting it around it, kind of mixing it with the top teams, and we certainly did. At that moment in time, it was on the left-hand side. Greg Taylor was involved. Dyson Meda, Reo Hatate, Kyogo was swarming around the Leipzig defenders, and Reo Hatate breaks the ball into the box. Greg Taylor is in the box. It takes a swing on it, misses it.
Yeah.
Dyson Meda with
it.
No, but he missed the goal. Whatever he was trying to aim at, I don't think he was trying to, do what he was doing. Dyson Meda with a world-class dummy. Nicolas Kuhn at the back post. Bang, second goal of the game, Ross. And if you look at his Champions League stats, he's also second highest for speed. He's just been incredible.
Listen, this season he's been absolutely outstanding. You all know, and anyone that watches the podcast knows that I like to give players a chance. And Kuhn, when he came in after 2 or 3 games, I had consigned him to the scrap heap. He was just, he looked for all the world the exact same as what we had, and we were wanting a new winger because the wingers we had kept coming inside and running into traffic. and he was doing that when he first came into the team. But I make no apologies for it, because I wasn't privy to the fact that, he had dental issues and stuff like that, or he'd lost X amount of weight. But you look at Kuhn now compared to the Kuhn that came in to Celtic, he's a completely different player. You can see how much stronger he is, how much more powerful he is, and he's running. And there's that belief now that I'm a really good player, and I'm doing the business, and I'm a big player in this team. And it was no more evident than the other night. Obviously, that first goal, he comes inside. For me, I think he means it. I just felt like it just looked a very deliberate action. That's just my opinion, but you could argue either way. But he's been absolutely outstanding. I think it was the Man City game in pre-season where he really came to the fore. I think he played if I remember right, he played a sensational ball in that game, and I think he scored a sensational goal where he curled it with the inside his foot. I could be getting that wrong, by the way, because my memory's not great. Am I right? Right. Well, that's good then. I'm not talking pish. But that, for me, that game, right there and then, I said, I think I put it in the group chat, I felt like he could be our player of the year. I didn't think he was going to perform as well as what he has done. He's exceeded my expectations. He's been phenomenal. And we go on about Maeda's work rate, which is unrivaled. But Kuhn, his work rate down the other side is phenomenal. Oh, not quite Maeda, but really, really what you would expect, at least standard. His work rate is tremendous. His link up with Alistair Johnson is an absolute joy to watch. And then going the other way, what Maeda brings at times, but they're different players. Kuhn has got the quality at the top end of the pitch, and he showed it, obviously, in the first goal. Then the second goal, he gets himself in there, similar to what Abada used to do, that ghosting in. His movement to get across the defender was tremendous, and he knows Maeda's not going to get in and on that. He just knows where to be. Maeda's not getting that, but Greg Taylor's putting it in an area, very deliberate. But it was just, he's just a brilliant player. But that second goal was absolutely phenomenal. You touched on it, Stephen, about Rodgers talking about the work rate and all that. I think that goal epitomised the message that Rodgers has been banging on about in terms of bravery. And obviously he speaks about the bravery on the ball, but the bravery, listen, I know it was like, I think the board had just went up, there's 1 minute left of the first half, obviously added on time, but the bravery to go into that corner, and albeit Leipzig put themselves into that, they sort of put themselves into that corner, but Celtic then to be brave enough to go and press that, and without fear of getting played through at that point of the first half, and just going, let's just go for this and try and get in front here. It doesn't always work out, but in that moment it did, and it worked out absolutely brilliant. And it was for me, everything that you need to be in that level of football in the Champions League was in that goal, in terms of the pressing, the desire to win it back, and then the ruthlessness when you did win it back and get into the position and punish a team like teams have done to us time and time and time and time and time again. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was incredible. I think, like you said, it's about picking the right moments to press, isn't it? I think Roger just spoke about that before, not being gung-ho all the time, being more pragmatic, and then when you get a team in a certain area of the pitch, what's that famous word that people say, the trigger? That's always open goal. Simon Ferry says it all the time. You trigger this, trigger that. But it did. The press was sensational, and obviously at the stadium, I'm sure when that second goal went in, the place was rocking to the core. Dies and Meta was never getting it. But Nicolas Kuhn ghosting in, much like Abada used to do. It's what I find quite frustrating is people are already jumping to, is he going to be the next £20 million player? Is he going to be the next 25 million player we're going to sell? Why can we not just enjoy the player without fearing that he's going to be sold, without asking what his transfer may be? Look, they're all questions to ask when it's a transfer window. But at this moment in time, look, he's performing well in a Celtic shirt, and like what Ross said, I've always believed in Kuhn. Always from day one said he was going to be a fantastic player. Never once did I say that he was going to fail or he was going to leave Celtic and in the dirt type stuff. I always believed in him. Thought he's fantastic. Much like I didn't believe in Yang, but very tongue in cheek. No one laughed. That was shit. But Jed, what was the stadium like?
Yeah, I mean, James will back me up. When we were pressing to get that second goal, the crowd were just urging them on to, because they could see what they were trying to do. And then when the ball got in, like as I've said, it reminded me of a Bada coasting in and getting the goal. But also as well, Ross, I'm glad you did say about him tracking back. If you look also in the first half, he tracked back, and between him, McGregor and Johnson, they played like a wee triangle.
Aye.
Then Kuhn got the ball and they played a magnificent ball through for Maeda. And you thought he's going to put it in the net. I mean, what a goal that would have been. Now that came from Kuhn tracking back, hitting the ball, and then they were playing the wee 1-2s to get out. He has improved tenfold, and it's all the confidence. But even at Hampden on the Saturday, he was outstanding. Aberdeen tried to target him because at the time I thought he was going to get taken off. I said that on Monday night because he was getting rattled all the time. But the guy, to get out and play football now with that confidence, it must be something else. He knows he's just in such a hot streak at the moment, and long may it continue. And Stephen, you heard about we can't enjoy players because they're going to get sold. You're 100% right, but unfortunately, we're a selling club.
And I understand that. My point.
People they can't enjoy them because they're saying, we could be getting 30 million, 20 million for them. Bloody enjoy them when we've got them.
Yeah, no point in worrying about what we're going to get from, because we'll only spend £11 million on shite anyway. So,
yeah. But like James, I mean, if you look at Kuhn, obviously we have like Louis Palma, who is going to be sold in January, and Yang, who might be coming on to the game, obviously coming on with that cameo, who looked decent. James Forrest hasn't really got a sniff the last couple of weeks. Dives and men on the left. I mean, Kuhn has nailed that right side of position down, rightly so. And look, he came in, and you mentioned about stinking the place, and he did in the first couple of months. We all know that, but there's obviously issues behind that. But what that shows me is his mentality to take the information that Roger has given him pre-season, do the hard work, do the hard yards. Like Ross said, Man City game, he was incredible. I think he got 2 goals, was it he got in that game? And he got took off or something. I believe it was at Chelsea. He definitely scored 2 against Fulham, and he's just took that form into the season. He's been excellent.
He's been brilliant. Pretty much like Ross said, that I was the same last season. Barring maybe a couple of games, I think I can remember up at Pittodrie, he looked alright. But apart from that, he was ranked rotten, if we're being honest. But he's come in pre-season. Obviously, we found out about his issues that he had last season. And he looks a totally different player. He looks brilliant. I mean, be loath, but you'd probably have to compare him to Jota, based on current form. He's been excellent. And I don't think it's any, well, in my opinion anyway, I think Alistair Johnson's went up a level as well this season. And I don't think it's any coincidence that he's got a kind of settled, no partner, but you know what I mean, like a settled kind of player in front of him, which maybe last year, for one reason or another, he didn't have. We were kind of chopping and changing, specifically that position at times. Obviously, Kuhn was in at the end, Forrest, we had Abada at the start as well, so it's kind of benefited us in more ways than one. But I echoes what he's all said about his tracking back as well. It's something that I think is goes pretty underappreciated, maybe because Maeda's on the other side running about like a Duracell bunny, but I think he's been brilliant. But I will say, I do think he's getting a wee bit carried away, because he did only score 2 goals, and there's still only one player at Celtic that scored a hat-trick against European opposition this season, so he's still got levels to go to reach Louis Palma levels, so we'll hang fire for a wee bit.
It's actually it's a skill that you can link that back to him. It's incredible.
It's
And James, I
impressive.
was saying, where the hell are you going with this? But you've took it to the next level.
Oh, I knew. As soon as James looked at his
Aye.
mouth, I knew he was going Palmer.
True, though.
Man.
It's true.
See,
Ah,
like, genuinely,
can't
before we
argue
move on,
facts.
also, I would argue it's European. Ireland's Ireland, but that's a different conversation. But Ross, but before we move on to obviously Reo Hatate's goal, I wanted your opinion on Greg Taylor's situation, his contract. What do you think he is going to leave? Do you think this is the plan? And Rogers was speaking, I think today, and he said that he hopes something can be sorted out, but it seems to be dragging on and dragging on. And usually managers do say these comments like, "I hope it's sorted out. He's a key part of the team." Blah blah blah. It's all sound bites, and sometimes it does ends in a free transfer to somewhere else. But it's unusually dragging on quite long for this situation. Like,
Well, I listened to what Roger said about Greg Taylor today, and he was very complimentary. Listen, Rogers is quite good at telling you what you want to hear, and most of the time I believe it. I have done in the past, like everybody else. But I did believe him, what he was saying about Greg Taylor today. I felt like he feels like he is really important to how we play, along with Alistair Johnson. I think your fullbacks, I think if you know football at all, then when you're playing a 4-3-3 system, then the fullbacks are pretty important. But of course, me personally, of course, I would love to see that contract situation getting sorted out. But again, we still, at the end of the season, whether it be Valle, whether it be somebody else, we still need somebody, again, whether it be to challenge him or take his place. That needs to be filled at the end of the season. Remains to be seen what will happen there. But at the moment, we're ending the season and we've got no left back. Last season we ended it in one left back, so it's not good. It's not great. I think we need to, if we are wanting Greg Taylor and we value him as much as the manager does, then obviously within reason. If Greg Taylor's asking for too much money, it's a different story. But I don't believe he's the type to do that. It is a funny one. It's not one that I'm overly worried about, but it is getting to the sort of nitty-gritty stage where we need to get it sorted out. We don't want him to leave for nothing, but I mean that what is he? He's just turned 27.
27.
Yeah.
Same
Coming
age
into
as
the
Kieran.
peak. He's coming into the peak years of his career. It is one that needs to get sorted out. Obviously, I've no idea why. You can only guess, but I would like to see that tied up one way or another in the not too distant future.
yeah, it's a strange one. There was rumours as well. Alex Valle is meant to be recalled to Barcelona. I don't know if you've seen that
I
because
did see
they're
that.
struggling for left backs, which would leave us up shit's creek. But we'll move on to the Reo Hatate, Jed. A person again who probably struggled at the start of Roger's second tenure to adapt to his style of play, but this season in particular, he's got some stick. But I do believe he's coming on to a game again. I think he's really imposing himself, and like you said about the highlights before he come on, the ones McGinty watches as well, if you get the drift. But the way he takes the ball, he can nutmeg players, he can manipulate the ball, he uses his body really well. Kind of John McGinn-esque, obviously not the strength and the same size as ours as John McGinn, but he can use his body well. He's got a good range of passing. He could break into the box and score. And he done that. He gambled on the rebound with the keeper and he put it in the back of the net. And that's all you can ask for from a midfield player. And I think he is really starting to get his teeth into this team. And he's proven yet again how valuable he is.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the game, he just lay in the ground. He was absolutely knackered. He ran himself into the ground on Tuesday night, and he was outstanding. Like we said, Steve, before we came live, I didn't see that. I seen the highlights of the BBC, but they never showed it where he nutmegged the boy and then put a fantastic ball through to Kyogo. And again, I was just thinking this. We could be talking about this goal for years to come if we put it in the net, but we didn't. Kyogo's touch slapped him down. But that was the Hatate we all know is there. but it's getting him to produce that on a more regular basis. But he was outstanding. And if you look, Hatate usually gets substituted. He didn't substitute him on Tuesday night because he realised just how good a game he was having. He was causing him all sort of problems. He was tracking back as well. Again, it's probably one of the best performances I've seen Hatate have in a Celtic shirt.
Yeah, he was excellent. And James, there was obviously rumours that Hatate's always saying international duty, he wants to leave. These translations you get never really comes across in the pitch. He's always given his all. Maybe like what we're also saying about Kuhn earlier, that his tracking back's improved, his kind of endurance has improved. I think his overall fitness base has improved, and you can really see that. Bernardo coming in, he's still on the bench. Engels coming in, he's featuring alongside Hatate and McGregor. I think going forward, if Reo keeps this form up, I think he'll be up there for discussion as a player of the year. I think he's just getting back to that form he had under Postecoglou the first half of that season. He came in and then the first full season.
Aye, and as Jed said, it's like the form he's in just now. We've always known that he's capable of it. We've seen it before, but it's just getting him to do it consistently. And I think this season, maybe a big factor in it is the competition for places. I mean, nobody's mentioned Luke McCowan yet, and Luke McCowan's come in and not really set a fit rank either. Whereas like last season, you're maybe looking at guys like Iwata, who obviously he's down to Birmingham and he's doing brilliant down there, but it was a kind of needs must up here for Iwata to get a chance. But you're looking at having 5 players for 3 positions, and they're all, well, I think they're all bang on form. And I was sceptical of the Luke McCowan signing, but he's not looked at a place since coming in. He's been really, really good. I think he'll probably get a start at the weekend. So I think that competition for places, no even exclusive to Hatate, but I think it will be helpful for everybody in there. It will drive them on to better levels.
Yeah, and we're going to break it up for a wee second here. We're going to do a quiz mid part of the podcast. And look,
James will win.
I don't know how it's going to work.
970.
Maybe, but there's 3 of us, so we'll just do first. Let me see how many questions in this quiz.
Remember, I need to get substituted at 9:45, mate.
Oh no, that's fine. James will have won by then, so it's grand. We've moved on, so you don't need to worry. Right, so there's
Jed's
10
got an
questions.
early night before his big day tomorrow.
Taxi the night.
Have you got a taxi license?
So you're mounting a cow there, Jed?
Maybe the morning.
Oft.
Right. There's 10. There's 10 questions in this quiz, and it's all Champions League based. Okay, so quite relevant to what we're talking about. It's 3 years on. Shout it out, and you get it. So, question 1: who won the first UEFA Champions League in the 92-93
Marseille.
following the Marseille? Ross gets it.
I got it wrong the other week.
1-0. Have I read these before? Shit.
Probably, aye.
Question 2. Well, who cares? Comments off, by the way. One of you can see comments. James has them on all the time. Ross has them on. Jed has them.
I've got them on.
No, I have not got them.
Question 2. Who became the first player to win the UEFA Champions League with 3 different clubs?
Seedorf.
2-0 Ross. He's winning
I
there.
was for Ross there.
Absolutely
It's a Sutton
not.
celebration.
Absolutely not, Jed. No chance.
Yeah.
Question 3. Who became the youngest player to score a UEFA Champions League hat-trick in October 95?
Nicolas Anelka.
Nope, you're out. Jed, over to James and Ross.
Private.
Nope. Ross?
Ronaldo.
No.
Oh,
One more guess each.
R9.
Oh, I think I'm not going to be Cristiano. Cristiano.
was it Wayne Rooney? Or was that too early?
No,
Still in nappies then.
Was Wayne Rooney? Aye. No, it wasn't Wayne Rooney. One more guess each.
95, he said.
Yeah, October 95.
Which league?
Raul.
You get it, James. 2-1-0. Jed's currently on a damn squid here. Or squid. I don't know how people say that, right? Question
Squid.
4. Squid. I got it right the first time, didn't I? That's shameful.
Be it then.
Squib, right. Chelsea won the UEFA Champions League in the 2011-2012 season. Who started that season as their manager?
Scolari.
Nope.
Mourinho.
Ross. Nope.
20. What year was it?
The 2011-2012 season.
Was it Villas-Boas?
It was. It's 3-1-0. This is incredible. Come on, Ross. Number 5. I'm not biased, by the way. I want all yous to win. And which city did Manchester City beat Inter to win the UEFA Champions League?
Lisbon.
Nope.
Munich.
Nope.
I should know this.
Ron Boy
Was it
has it wrong
Moscow?
as well. Nope, that's what
Moscow
Ron Boy
was
just guessed.
Chelsea. Moscow was Chelsea when they beat Chelsea.
No. It's a very famous venue, I'll give you that.
Paris, Parc des Princes.
Is-
Paris.
Is it Nou Camp?
Madrid. The Bernabeu.
No. One more guess each.
Fuck knows.
Is it Wembley? Because it's always at Wembley every fucking 2 years.
It's not Wembley.
no Wembley.
Jed. You've named every other European city, Jed. Come on.
Oh, I'll go Stadio Olimpico in Rome.
That's so true, Franny. That's so true.
I know.
No, it wasn't. We'll have to move on from this question. It was in fact Istanbul. Question 7. Who did Manchester United play in the Sir Alex Ferguson's final UEFA Champions League game as manager?
Barcelona.
Actually,
Porto.
Chelsea.
no. Are we just guessing now? It feels like these are all just throwing things out now.
I thought it was Porto.
No,
That's why I said that.
Porto. No. Oh, good shout, Celtic, but unfortunately you're wrong. Has any of you seen the size of Gary Barlow's son? All them tweets? It's
Unbelievable.
incredible.
Gary Barhai.
Gary Barhai. My God.
Oh, no, that was all right. Give you that
What was the question?
Last team.
Who did-
Oh,
who did-
Ferguson.
one. Yeah, Ferguson, you're in the Champions League.
I'm going to say Galatasaray.
I'm going to say you're wrong.
No, that's fine. I knew I was right.
Real Madrid.
Jed, you're off to 0. It's 3-1-1, right? Next question. Who became the first club to play in the UEFA Champions League having never previously won their own domestic league?
Chelsea.
No. Chelsea's got to mention a lot. They've been wrong all the time.
Leipzig.
I know.
That's too
No.
late.
Deportivo La Coruña.
No.
It's not
No.
a bad guess.
I feel like that's your default guess when you don't know the question.
Fucking isn't it? They played in the Champions League years and years ago, but they never won the league. Valencia.
No.
Villarreal.
No. Jed, one more guess. We're moving
That's
on.
not a bad
Right,
guess,
don't
James. I don't know why he's laughing at
don't
you.
I know.
question.
I'm not laughing. I'm
Funny.
laughing at all these teams getting
It's not
chucked out.
funny.
Repeat the question, please.
Okay. Who became the first club to play in the UEFA Champions League having never previously won their own domestic title? So when did that rule about champions be abolished?
Now, is this a trick question? Are you going to go? No.
Don't know.
You got to say Rangers.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know the trick question. I'm reading this off Google. There's no tricks in my mind. So there's not. Wrong.
Roma?
No. It was a fact. My phone just locked. That's great, isn't it? It was the fact
What a
that
shite
Bayer
team.
Leverkusen.
There you go.
Bayer Leverkusen. Right. Question 9. Which player has played for 7 different clubs in the UEFA Champions League
Ibrahimovic.
but has never won it?
Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, 3-2-1. Ha!
You
3-2-1.
got that another week as well,
Aye.
James.
Last question of this round. Which player was sent off in the 2016-2017 UEFA Champions League final?
Oh, was it the goalkeeper?
It wasn't a goalkeeper, Jed.
It wasn't a goalkeeper.
No.
Well, I'm not giving you an answer then.
Was it?
Vidic.
I think
No, Franny. It wasn't De Jong.
2017-18. Did you say?
No, 2016-2017. This is the first time I've actually seen James genuinely stump. Usually he's like, boop, 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 boop.
I
Who was in the final? I don't even know who was in the final.
I feel like it was Tottenham Liverpool, but I could be totally wrong there.
It wasn't Tottenham.
Tottenham
Well, it
Liverpool,
could have been one of the things,
2006.
but the player in question doesn't play for any of them clubs. So there you go. That's a clue.
Oh, well, that's I was going to get it wrong with my.
Is that
thing.
Dortmund
Well,
Munich? Is that final? No, is that too late?
Oh, at Wembley.
James, honestly, I don't know. It doesn't tell me who's in the final. I just know this player hasn't played for Liverpool or Tottenham. I don't think he has. No, I don't think so.
No, you need to put us out of misery, Steve.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was Juan Cuadrado.
Quadrado.
Juventus.
Yeah.
I would never have got that.
Never have said that. Aye.
Never even heard
He
of
came
him.
on
You win.
against. Who did
You
he
win
come on
that round.
against?
Atlanta, Celtic.
Aye. Kind of maybe it was a Scotland game or a Celtic game there. It's like we never played Columbia.
Also have a Scottish football quiz here for in a wee bit. So Ross, you won that. You won that 3-2-1. What a scoreline. What a countdown, as they would say. But yeah,
Sounds like the
moving
worst
on.
formation ever.
You get beaten off 11 people on the pitch. But Reo Hatate, Ross, tell me. Gambled into the box, got that final goal for us to seal a 3-1 victory against Leipzig.
Excuse me, guys. 1 minute.
No problem.
Right. In terms of that goal, I think all the goals we scored, they were all absolutely brilliant in their own way. In terms of the Kuhn one, I think, by the way, we have to go back and I don't think it was an assist for Engels as such. He's played a lovely ball into Kuhn, but Kuhn makes it. But he scores that bit of individual brilliance. The second one, the pressing for the team is outstanding. And then the third goal is just an absolutely brilliant team goal for Callum McGregor, picking it up in his own half, running into nowhere, having the wherewithal to turn back, let everybody get back into shape and support him, go back to the defence, and then build, and then it goes out to Kuhn. And what we spoke about earlier, that sort of link up, that combination, Alistair Johnson bursts a gut. Alistair Johnson bursts a gut to get outside Kuhn. He rolls it into his path, and he plays a ball into an area again, and the keeper, you have to say, doesn't deal with it, but Hatate just gets himself in it into the right place, and I think he adjusts his feet absolutely brilliant to just manage to get that under the bar. It was a really good bit of play to be able to adjust his feet like that, and it was just a brilliant goal. And as the guys were saying before that quiz there, he's been outstanding the last few weeks. And we're talking maybe a month ago, people were talking about their best midfield three, not including Hatate. And for me, listen, that's fine. But people, this is like when you get a new signing and people write them off. It's that sort of knee jerk. Okay, Hatate's had a one or two games where he's not been, he's hit the heights, and Bernardo's come in and he's looked really good. Bernardo's brilliant, and I really, really like Bernardo. I've liked Bernardo for the first game I saw him. I think he brings a lot to the team. But if you ask me, even back then, when Hatate maybe wasn't quite performing the way he is now, Hatate is still, he would have still been that first choice 3 for me, because he's just a better player than Bernardo, and he can come up with big moments, just things that other people can't do. But as James, I think it was James said earlier, we're now sitting there and we've got a midfield 3, and we've got obviously the 3 we speak about. Then we've got McCowan, Bernardo. Don't think I'm forgetting anybody else. So you've got 5 players vying for that position, if you like. For me, on paper, the best 3 is Hatate, McGregor and Engels. But again, it comes back to that where Brendan Rodgers will absolutely play the fixture and he'll manage the squad. So, albeit for games like the other night, that is going to be the 3 to choose for. Everybody's going to play their part. But Reo Hatate, for me, I think Jed spoke about it briefly earlier as well. That moment where he turns, and I think he puts it through the boy's legs, and he plays the ball. Was it? Did you say it was Kyogo he played it in? That pass for me was right up there with the Kuhn one. I would probably say maybe Kuhn's was slightly better because he plays it with the outside of his foot. But to pick the ball up, get turned, and then play that ball in an instant, that's just what Hatate can do. And that's why I've made the case so many times now that in Europe, at home, Reo Hatate plays every time for me. Away from home, maybe not always. I think away from home, when you're trying to be a bit more solid and keep the ball a bit better, and not just go at teams, just be like look after the ball better, if you like, then Bernardo maybe comes into their games. But Reo Hatate is an enigma. He's our player in the team that can do things that nobody else can do in terms of finding passes and trying passes that don't always come off, but you're missing out 2 or 3 players and playing that diagonal, and then it gets us up the pitch really quick, and he executes it most of the time. There's times when he doesn't, and then you're found wanting, but it didn't happen Tuesday night. He's a tremendous player, and I hope that we can hold on to him for even longer than what we have. I think is this his 3rd season?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think that's right. So I mean, we've held on to him for quite a while. I think if he hadn't been injured for as long as he had been, he might have been the one to leave before Matt O'Reilly. But obviously he had his injury troubles, and we've been able to hold on to him. And then he's obviously came in, and Rodgers has got him under his wing. I think Rodgers has improved Hatate. Obviously, you can see that he's improved, obviously, in his form for when Rodgers came in, but he was injured. But for me, the Hatate we had, probably when he first came in, I think we're seeing that Hatate now, maybe slightly better. And I don't know who it was, but when he's touched upon his work rate, I think it's even better than it has ever been. I think he looks fitter as well than he ever has, in terms of his running power, and as well, he lasted a full game. Quite often you've seen Hatate getting substituted, but aye, he's just a fantastic player, and I think this team now with Hatate in it are really, really coming of age. I know it's only one game, maybe 2 at a push. We'll definitely be able to say for sure if we are at that level where we will hope, if we can replicate Tuesday night's performance 3 or 4 times. Listen, we're going to get a bloody nose in that tournament at times as well, because it's just the way it. But I really, really love the way this team is going this season. I think we're on to really, really big things. I think it could be right up there with Rodgers' first season at Celtic. I know I'm going off on a tangent. I'm just getting a wee bit excited. But Reo Hatate
Do it.
Aye, but I'm not want to say it because then the opposite will happen, because that's what I do. Celtic are going to go unbeaten, then the fucking St Mirren
Don't say it.
I'm just reiterating what I said before. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'll leave it at that before I say something I regret.
Still remember that.
You know what's never been mentioned so far? How good their discipline has been this season.
Mm-hmm.
Look over in Europe, how many players we had sent off like last year and things like that. We have really had, in the Scottish League and in the Champions League, we have kept our discipline. We are not diving into tackles and things, and that helps keeping 11 players on the pitch, because you're moving up that level in Europe, and to go down to 10 men or 9 men has happened last season. You're peeing against the wind then, aren't you? So that you've got to give credit to the players there then as well for the way they've conducted themselves this season.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point, Ross, about Rodgers kind of improving at Hatate. Obviously, under Postecoglou, he was used to the more gung-ho approach. It was risky passes all the time, and he was trying things left, right, and centre. But under Rodgers, it looks like to me he's encouraging to take care of the ball more, pick the moments when to be risky, pick the moments when to break the lines, and I think Hatate's doing that really well at the moment. Sometimes, yes, he has lapses, which causes Rodgers to fall on his arse and talk about his Tom Fords not having studs in them. But, that happens. It's part and parcel of Reo Hatate's game, and slowly but surely he's becoming more consistent, and you could definitely see it, and I do agree, his work rate and his fitness has improved no end, because he was getting substituted in the 60th minute, even sometimes earlier, for someone else to come on and kind of bring that freshness to the midfield, where now you can last 90 minutes, and it's good to see. And obviously, Jed, you have to go shortly, so we'll start with you in this one. Fantastic performance in the Champions League to get the 3-1 victory against RB Leipzig, top European opposition, no matter how BBC Scotland try to paint it, or Sky Sports, or whoever it may, Premier Sports, whoever it may be commentating in the game. But people talk about a generational win, one of these fantastic wins you can talk about for years to come. We've talked about, obviously, in the past, and our rewinds like AC Milan, Manchester United, Benfica, teams of that ilk, and Barcelona 2012 brings back great memories. But where does this rank for you? Obviously, people are taking into account how we played, the 90 minutes of pure football, playing a top European opposition team off the pitch. Hasn't really happened before. Where does this game rank for you in the Champions League nights you've seen more recently at Celtic Park?
Yeah, there's a few games stand out to me over the years. But I think what that game, as we've all commented on, is how we dictated the game. We had more possession than a top-notch German team. We had more possession over the 90 minutes, and we totally controlled the game. So for that, I don't think I've seen a performance of that. But the other performances is when we beat Ajax for the first time qualifying for the Champions League over there, and also in Europa League when we beat Blackburn down at Ewood Park. It was the men against boys scenario, what Larson said. But the one game it did stick out to me and we actually got knocked out, was when we played Partizan Belgrade, when we beat them 5-4 back in, I think, 1989-1990. That was just a roller coaster of a game. So that game sticks out to me above anything else. But the performance the other night was probably the best I've seen.
Yeah, in terms of complete domination, like you said. Also important to note, James, as well, this team only conceded 5 goals in their respective league. The best defensive unit in the Bundesliga, also up there with the top goal scorers as well. And I think Roger spoke about it today, that the fans, us especially, have been looking for a performance like this. And it's been building like this. We've been expecting, we've been wanting this to happen for years, and it finally did. And look, people do get over, kind of exaggerate it and probably overreact to this performance, but I don't think there's been anything where it's been like, right, calm down. People talk about generational wins and how great it was, and I believe all that. I fully buy into it. Like Jed said, you can talk about Barcelona, but we were under the cosh for the whole game, right up until the 94th minute. You can look back at the United games. Again, it was backs against the wall. We were relying on set pieces, where this game just felt different. It felt like we announced ourselves on the stage where we can compete, that famous word. We can go 90 minutes and dominate a game. We can score 3 goals against a top opposition like RB Leipzig, and it just felt great, in my opinion.
Definitely, I'm just surprised nobody's mentioned the Real Madrid game yet, where we competed like fuck for the first 60 minutes.
I was just about it.
Generational, man. We'll be talking about that fucking 300 defeat for years to come. But no, look, in terms of performance, Leipzig for me, they're having a fantastic season. They're second in the Bundesliga, but for me, they're only that your Barcelona's, Real Madrid's, AC Milan's, they're not at that level. But in terms of performance, I mean, the only other one, at least that I could think of to compare it to, would be the 3-0 game against Benfica at Parkhead years ago. But to be fair, they returned the favour in Lisbon. But in terms of performance, for me, that's probably the best. And as I say, normally the last kind of 20 minutes, you're nervous. You think the clock's stopped. You're wanting to go to corners and play for time, and that's what actually we were saying just after the game. It felt like a league game. It just felt like a run-of-the-mill league game. The way I don't mean in terms of the atmosphere, but just in terms of like the way we performed. Because I think it was I'll give Yangi his due as well. I thought he was good when he came on, but I think it was just before he get the shot away that he skies over the bar. It was the wee bit of player for it. He gets the ball and I'm screaming, take it to the corner. But it's not even in his mind that he just inside, lovely wee bit of play with, I think it was Hatate, I can't remember, gets it back, has the shot, and that kind of set the tone getting into the last wee bit. I think there was one at the other side as well. I can't remember who it is. It might have actually been Adamida who was running it to get the ball. And you think, especially you, just take it into the corner and hold it in, but no, we went back and passed it back to the defence. And it's just really, really good. And then you watch some of the games. I watched Hearts last night, and I seen a bit of the Rangers game as well. And mate, I know they're away from home and it's different circumstances, but it looks as if we're playing a different sport to everybody else now. And the fact that we're carrying it into Europe, which, as you say, we haven't done in the past, it's set us up nicely going into the second half of fixtures. I thought getting the point in Atalanta, took the maybe not so much made it a free hit, but it took some pressure off last night. And then obviously off Tuesday night, fucking try my teeth in. What was I saying? So getting the draw in Atalanta kind of took some pressure off the Leipzig game, and then we go out and get a win in Leipzig, and we've set ourselves up in a really good position. Look, I'll still be happy to take the playoff round, but I mean, for what we've seen, there's no reason, if we continue to form, and it is a big if, but there's no reason that we can't really have a go at reaching the top 8.
Guys, listen, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to go. Daughter to pick up off the train. And listen, have a great weekend, everyone.
Enjoy your weekend, Jed.
Enjoy your day tomorrow, Jed.
Cheers now.
See you later.
Cheers, Jed. Catch you later, mate.
And obviously going off what James is saying as well, Ross. And look, I know that they're not Barcelona, they're not Manchester United, teams of that kind of top tier bracket, as people will call them. But you can't discount it. I just feel like it does kind of fall into this realm all the time where they're not top this, they're not this, they're not that. It's a fucking fantastic result. So, I mean, it's one of these things that for fans, and yes, James brought up the 30-minute game against Real Madrid, which we won on possession. Fair enough, we hit the post. That's fantastic. That's all well and good. But we finally saw a game through. We were comfortable. And we looked like I wanted that game to continue. I didn't want half-time. I didn't want full-time. We could have scored maybe 5 or 6. And did they create chances? Of course they did. But that's to be expected. But we kept the door shut. We looked comfortable in possession. We were easy on the eye. Kuhn was fantastic. Meda was a Duracell bunny, like James was saying earlier on. Kugel was getting in about it. The midfield didn't look out of place. And it was like, fuck, we actually do belong at this stage. Yes, maybe not the top tier, but I just thought for me, Ross, all round performance-wise, it was brilliant.
Aye, I mean we've said that numerous times now on this podcast. But for me, like you say, they aren't a Man United, they aren't an AC Milan, they aren't a Real Madrid, they aren't a Barcelona. But well, excluding Real Madrid, we beat AC Milan, we beat Barcelona, we've beat numerous teams of that ilk at Parkhead over the years. But for the most part, they've been smash and grab where you've been under the cosh, you've went up the park, you've used your physicality, you've won a corner, you've got a bit of not a fluke, but for wanting a better phrase, let's just say that elements of luck in in goals and stuff like that, and got away with it. The other night for me, I was going to say that I don't think I've seen a Celtic team dominate a team who are probably regarded in that sort of level, just below your Barcelona's, your Real Madrid's, your Paris Saint-Germain, your Bayern Munich. Right, they are top tier teams. They get to the last bits of the tournament all the time. But that level down is your RB Leipzig's and teams like that. And I don't think James highlighted the Benfica game, which I'd forgot about. We dominated that game and were outstanding that night. Out with that, I don't think that I remember Celtic dominating a team at Parkhead and not just being a smash and grab, like I've said, and maybe get out of there 2-1. I think the last time I seen Celtic play a team off the park and come out the game and go, we won that. We were the best team by far and we bossed it. And it was against Lyon. I think Liam Miller scored that night. Maybe it been about 2003, 2004, something like that. We won 2 or 3-0. And I just remember, I'd been at the game. I remember coming back, and it was when Sky Sports had the Champions League. And there was guys like Jamie Redknapp and stuff like that sitting in the studio, and they were waxing lyrical about Celtic and how good we were. And that always stuck in my mind. And the other night when I was watching that game, I thought about it. I thought that was like, for me, like that game. It might even have been even better. But in terms of the goals we scored in that game and the goals we scored the other night, they were absolutely brilliant goals, European, like Champions League goals. They were goals that belonged at that stage. And I think that Rogers talked about it today. I know James jokes there about the Real Madrid and all that, and that's fair enough. No, I mean, we did get beat 3-0, but I think that game, certainly at Parkhead, that game and result has been building for maybe 2 years, possibly 3 years when Ange had his first stint, where obviously the Real Madrid game, we took the game to them, but we didn't have the quality, we didn't have the belief to take the opportunities when they came along, and we got beat. But Rogers talked about it today in his press conference, where it's been a process and we've been building towards this. Now, we've got this result and it's fantastic. We played Lazio last season, and for large parts we were the better team, and we were very unlucky to lose that game. But again, it was that wee bit of quality, that wee bit extra belief. Atletico Madrid, I felt like we were the better team for large parts, but again, we drew 2 each. But Kyogo and Matt O'Reilly link up and score a goal that belonged in that stage, and we were playing football, and just in wee snippets of games, having that level, but we couldn't bring it for that full 90 minutes, and that's what was missing. And I think we've built over 2 or 3 years to get to that point in that performance on Tuesday night. It's one game in isolation. If we replicate that at home against a team of that ilk again and again, then you believe that process is taking us, and we've got to that stage then where we can then say, right, we do belong in this stage now. I feel like we do, and I feel like we've built towards that, but we need to get a run of games. It can't just be one game and then go and lose to Bruges at home. And people will say, if we go and beat Bruges, people will say, well, it's only Bruges. But they're in the European Champions League, and they beat Aston Villa the other night. Albeit, what I seen of the highlights, Aston Villa weren't great, but neither were Bruges. Bruges were all right, but they got out of there with a win, with a goal that, do you know what I mean? It was it was just a weird one for Tyrone Mings. If they don't get the penalty, it probably finishes 0-0. It's still a good result against an off Villa team. But listen, Bruges they're not a fantastic team, but they're still in the Champions League, and you can only beat who's in front of you. And if we go and do that, then I think we're really showing that we do belong at this stage now. But we need to keep doing it. It can't just be a one-off. But again, Tuesday night was unbelievable, and I've not seen us dominating a team for the majority of a game and punishing them when we're on
Since
top.
Bratislava. I was just sitting
Aye,
thinking,
but
not one person's mentioned Bratislava.
I know what you mean, but obviously we're talking
no,
about a
better
team that's
opposition.
Aye.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I also think as well that I think you're right. We need to keep the consistency level going with Club Bruges and Young Boys when they come to town. We need to keep that level of performance up for this to be a kind of mainstay and us to perform at this level year in, year out. And I do agree with you a bit, saying this has been coming for 2 or 3 years from Postecoglou to Rodgers and now, obviously. What obviously annoyed me was that whole we competed stuff. And you mentioned the Real Madrid game, and yeah, jokingly, people being serious about it. Now I'm just happy we saw a game through and actually put a team to the sword and got a good win at Celtic Park. And just to kind of quickly end this kind of segment on a funny, light-hearted note, Victor Wanyama was at the match, and obviously he was getting in the round. I think he done the Paradise Windfall, James, didn't he? I believe at half time. So just a quick one, the rally cry we hear year in, year out, trying to get that out there. I think all of us are kind of feeling the speech test tonight. Do Celtic still need a hard tackling number 6 type midfield player? Throw at the both of us?
Yes, for me, aye.
Ross?
I would say so. Listen, on the evidence this campaign, on the last 2 games, you would say that we've shown that we can do a defensive performance. But I think on another night, Celtic probably would have lost that game in Atalanta by 2 or 3 goals. But things went for them and defended resolutely. But their defence, like the centre-back pairing, were tested a hell of a lot. And you expect that at the Champions League. But as well as Engels played, as well as McGregor played, and they tried their best to protect that back four. They did get on the back four more than you would like. I think you need somebody that will screen them a bit more in the away games and be that just a bastard, really. But we do need that. Listen, we've got really, really good players. I think James has said on numerous occasions that we've got a lot of midfielders that do the same thing. And I think they are showing now that they, as much as they all do the same thing, some are better at doing other aspects of the game better than others, whatever. But I think we do need that presence, that guy who can play but is physical as well. And I know Bernardo can be physical, Engels can be physical, but I still don't think they're off that Wanyama ilk. I think we do need that.
Yeah, so do I, to be fair. But the funny thing is, when we win games like that, it kind of goes out of the question, doesn't it? People forget, and then they come back to it when we get hammered in Europe again, and it's like we need that number 6 tough tackling midfielder. And I mean, we do, but where we're going to get him from, I can't think of any comes to mind, but obviously that's up to the recruitment department to find that out. We're going to do another wee quiz to break it up before we come to the Kilmarnock game. Currently, Ross is ahead, so it's 1-0 in quizzes to Ross. We've done the Champions League one. This one's a bit more straightforward. It's Scottish football based. So there's 10 questions in this, and we'll do first to whoever wins it by default. So who were the last team to win the Scottish Premiership before Celtic and Rangers?
Aberdeen. Done this one the other week, too.
We didn't do this one the other week, did we?
We did, because we said it was one of the 2 answers.
I got it.
Hold on.
Aberdeen.
Right. Hold on a wee second. I'll get another quiz, right?
Oh, right there.
All right there. Just let me get the other quiz up. We're near it. We're near it. Right. Okay. So there's a new one here, right? So football name the year quiz. Okay. So
Right. Okay.
We'll do this one. Holy shit. Right. The first question. Karlstrom won the Bundesliga title. Cheltenham were promoted to the Premier League, and Juventus lost in the UEFA Champions League final. Name the year.
2001.
Nope.
What was the first team? Karlstrom.
Yeah.
And I count of having never heard the name. I'll go 1982.
No. 1998. We'll move on.
I get a
Question
sign
2.
for that for being close.
I know. I was
Fucking
like,
miles away.
I was closer.
No, because I thought he was going to guess 1998. I didn't hear the next part of it. Right, question 2.
I went 01 because I thought it was the year that they lost to Milan on penalties. I think that was
It
about
was
01,
98.
2000, 2001. Anyway,
Zinedine Zidane became the world's most expensive player. Ipswich Town finished 5th in the Premier League, and Bayern Munich won the UEFA Champions League. Name the year.
2001.
And it was 2001. That's 1-0 to James. See, if you had kept that in the back pocket for that, maybe you could have got somewhere. Question 3. Cardiff City reached the FA Cup final. Cristiano Ronaldo won his first Ballon d'Or, and Jose Mourinho became the manager of Inter. What year?
2007.
so I was going to say.
Nope. Ross, over to you.
Oh, 08.
And it was 08. It's 1 each.
I was saying 07 as well, James.
I knew it was one either side.
Aye.
Question 4. The Bosman ruling became part of football. Eric Cantona was involved in an altercation with a supporter at Selhurst Park, and Nantes became the champions of the French League. What year?
94.
95.
2 seconds. 95. It was 420 in there as well.
It was the 94-95 season. Cantona done the kick, so.
It was 95. This is what
Aye.
Google says, not me. So
Blackburn won
I
it 94-95, and they came back for the biggest margin. But anyway.
It's fine. James, 2-1. So we're on question 5. Sunderland scored a goal after a deflection of a beach ball. Burnley are promoted to the Premier League. France scored a controversial goal following Thierry Henry's handball against Ireland. What year?
2007.
No. Nope.
2011.
Nope. It was in fact.
2009.
No, it was 13. Wasn't it?
James, you do my fucking head
It was
in when it comes to these
2000.
quizzes.
Was it
It's
2013?
2009. It's 2009. It baffles
It
me. It baffles me.
qualifier.
I thought it was.
No.
I was going for the other World Cup.
Aye.
3-1
That's how
to
I said the
James.
first one.
Next question. This is good one, isn't it? Galatasaray won the FA Cup. Luis Figo joined Real Madrid, and Manchester United boycotted the third round of the FA Cup. What year?
2002.
No.
1990. 2000.
You fucking do. You do my head in. How do you know this much stuff? It baffles me. The 2000. What's that?
1990
3-1?
2000. That's not even a number. He's not
It's
getting that.
2000. It's 2000. So it is. Right. Question 8. Currently 3-1 to James. Sevco won the promotion to the Scottish Premiership. Sam Allardyce was the new England manager, and Higuain won the Serie A Golden Boot.
2016.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a wee
I just
second.
couldn't do the maths quick enough.
It was a 3-year journey that took 4 years.
Yeah, 2016. 4-1.
Gareth Southgate was in place for 8 years. I couldn't do the maths quick enough. I couldn't mind what year we were in.
Right, so Neymar signed for PSG, Newcastle won the championship, and Southampton reached the EFL Cup final. What year? Yeah.
2012.
Nope.
2012.
No, not 2012.
2016. Seeing as you just put it up the screen and gave a thumbs up.
Aye.
Oh, no,
Fucking
that's
idiot.
not for that. That was for the Sevco one.
All right. Is it no
Mm.
2016 as well?
No. It's close, though.
2017.
Yes, it's 2017, right? 3-2. Right, 2 more questions.
Fuck's sake. 2015, 2016, it was close.
Paul Gascoigne.
Can I get a big gasp of air for being 25 years out earlier, man?
Paul Gascoigne made his Lazio debut. Gary Lineker retired from international football, and Barcelona won the European Cup. What year?
92.
Boom, 3 each. Last question. Leeds United were relegated from the Premier League. San Marino recorded their first ever victory, and Darren Fletcher became the youngest Scottish captain for 100 years. What year?
2004.
2006.
2004. He annoys me.
Oh.
It's mad that he gets these all the time. It's actually mental. Yeah, so that's 1 each in quizzes. He's up for one more?
For me. You're in. You've got the reins.
Yeah, but I don't want to do it. He's threw me off my other ones. Hold on a wee second. Let me see. Right, okay, we'll do Spanish football questions. So there's 10 in this as well. So there is. And it's currently 1 each. So this would be the decider, okay? Spanish. Right, let's make sure.
This one, fuck.
Question 1. Which team beat Milan 5-4 on aggregate in the 2003-4 UEFA Champions League quarterfinals after losing 4-1 in the first leg?
Deportivo La Coruña.
Boom. 1-0. Have I done this one as well? Please tell me.
What do you wish to?
Go through, innit?
Aye.
Yeah.
Big Roy Mackay.
Question 2. Who is Spain's all-time record goal scorer?
David Villa.
Oh my God, 2-0. Question 3.
I was going Deportivo again.
Who captained Spain at Euro 2000 and the 2002 World Cup?
Is it Nadal?
Nadal?
He plays tennis, man.
No, but his uncle played for Spain.
Is it Casillas?
No. No.
Too early,
No.
actually, wasn't it?
02 and what?
2000.
2000 and 2002. So what? 2000 Euro and 2002 World Cup. Petro someone. No, it's not Ramos either.
I don't know. No, fuck
No, I
knows.
don't know.
I literally just flashed it up on the screen by mistake.
Hierro.
None of you saw it.
Hierro.
Yes.
I'm not taking that.
2-1. Ross gets it.
No way.
Right, question 4. Which team defeated Spain in their opening game of the 2010 World Cup?
Switzerland.
Russia.
3-2. Question 5. Alongside Barcelona.
2-1 to 3-2.
Oh, 2 each, sorry. What am I talking about? 2 each. Fuck me. Question 5. Alongside Barcelona and Real Madrid, which Spanish team has played 94 consecutive seasons in the top flight?
Bilbao.
3-2.
That was a question of the week.
Which 2024-25 Premier League summer signing helped Girona to qualify for the UEFA Champions League?
Savinho.
Oh, yep.
I was thinking
4-2.
England there. I thought we were doing a Spanish quiz. You said Premier League.
4-2. Sevilla have beaten 2 English teams in the final of the UEFA Europa League. Liverpool are one of the teams.
Fulham.
Who's the other one?
Man U.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
It was Atletico Madrid.
Man U.
What? It's not a nope.
Fulham.
Nope.
Chelsea.
No Man U.
That's not Man U. That's it.
Arsenal.
Oh,
It's not
Middlesbrough.
ours. Oh my God. James, you just went on a full rant. There was Ross needing to pipe in there. Right, I'll give you, what is it, 5-2?
What was it, Middlesbrough?
Right. Yeah, it was Middlesbrough, funny enough. Yeah, it actually was. Yeah. Right.
Macaroni.
Which Spanish player was named as player of the tournament at Euro 2008?
Xavi.
Iniesta.
Yeah, 6-2. Which team did Lamine Yamal score against at Euro 24?
England.
Nope.
Oh no, it was Holland. Oh no, was it? Fuck. Talking piss, man. Germany. Still
Nope.
no. I'm going home. I'm
Portugal.
No. No.
Fucking Switzerland.
Scott Melville has it correct at the moment. Well done in the comments. Nope.
It was a beauty.
When do you see me saying this? When do you see me saying this? And then
Croatia.
two seconds
Oh!
later, James gets it.
No,
Oh!
a day.
Oh,
I
go.
know, I remember it because it was
Uh-huh.
Was it not Croatia?
France.
Yeah, it was France. Thanks, Scott. You helped him. There we go. Last question. Which German team did Stoke City sign Hosselu from in 2015?
Bayern Munich.
Nope.
Werder Bremen.
I thought this was a Spanish quiz.
It is
Oh,
it's
he's
about a Spanish player.
Right.
Werder Bremen.
No, wasn't was it? No, it wasn't Bremen, no. P. McLaughlin guessed the same as you, but no.
Oh, Ross reading the comments, huh?
To get it back to
Only-
19-2.
I don't know, mate. Bayer Leverkusen.
No, it was Hanover 96.
Wolfsburg.
It was Hanover. That was a good guess. It was close enough. So, and the quizzes
It's a
tonight,
German
it
team,
ends,
aye.
it ends overall. James 2, Ross 1. That's just too much knowledge for this fella. But,
Aye.
right, Rugby Park, Ross. Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, aye. 3 o'clock
Yeah.
Sunday.
3 o'clock. I think trusty Carter Vickers missed training, but they're apparently going to be okay. But with the plastic pitch, which, by the way, again, they've took the decision to delay their transition back to grass for another season.
Oh, really?
Absolutely,
Didn't know that.
absolutely shambolic, embarrassing. That is considered to be good enough to play in the SPFL, especially when they're trying to advertise the game. I hate fucking plastic pitches, but I think that'll come into effect. I think there'll be changes in the side.
Aye, I think there will be. I think even if it hadn't been a plastic pitch, I think after the efforts midweek there, I think there would have been some changes, but definitely changes now. Do you want my predicted lineup?
Give me your score and lineup
Aye.
prediction. Go ahead.
I think the lineup will be Schmeichel, Johnston, Valle, Vickers, Trusty, McGregor, McCowan, Engels, Kuhn, Maeda, and Ida.
Score prediction.
3-1 Celtic.
We had some good performances at the latter part of last season. I think Roger was looking at today in his press conference. We kind of started shaky with them the first couple of games. Then when we found a rhythm, like he said, we absolutely blew them away, James. And the only thing that for me you have to guard against with the McKenna side is their physicality. Marty Watkins, Kyle Fussell. So I mean, people like that, Lewis Mayo at the back and people like 6 foot plus. So just have to guard against that. We've seen what they've done against Sevco. We're at a different level. And if we turn up, we should win quite comfortably.
Aye. Hopefully it's another performance like the end of last season when we run the league up there. I don't see him risking Carter Vickers on the plastic. I think it'll be Scales and Trusty. The left back I think is an interesting one because Taylor was good and he kind of came in out the cold during the week, but at the same time Alex Vai's looked the part as well. So I think that's kind of the big call. It's a kind of coin toss, to be honest with you, innit? Who gets in there? I think he'll maybe stick with Taylor just because it is a kind of an awkward place to go. So I'll go Schmeichel, Johnson, Scales, Trusty, Taylor, McKibben, McGregor, Engels. I was going to say you'd rest Kuhn, but you can't really take Kuhn out of the team now. Kuhn, Ida, and Maeda. But to be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if maybe probably Yang gets a start just after back him coming on at the weekend, on Tuesday. But I think he will come in, and I think Scales will come in.
What's your score prediction?
I'll go 3-0.
3-0. I mean, for myself, pretty much the same as you. Lineup wise, I mean, score prediction, I would go 3-0 or 3-1. I think we'll have to guard against our set pieces, obviously. But look, that brings us to the end of the podcast. We had 4, now we're down to 3. Have you enjoyed it?
Aye, good night.
Brilliant. Really enjoyed being back on now. Especially on a Friday. I prefer a provide.
I enjoyed you winning the quiz for once, but then James came back and absolutely
normal service was resumed.
Normal service. I mean, Scott Melville with the assist there. Like as soon as I said he knew it, James knew it. So I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know. Let's rewind. Fucking was it Werder Bremen? They read out the comments, and then you're flashing up answers for him out the comments, Euro and all that. So glass houses and stones and all that part of it.
And the whole time I am the innocent party. Cheers, Monty.
I'm only trying to assist. That's all I'm doing. But like we said, we're still running on a restricted schedule. We'll be on at some point next week. Hopefully, it's Monday to discuss the game at Rugby Park and hopefully a positive result. I know Donny said he was available. Probably McGinty, maybe Franny might be available for that. So we'll get something on the road. We'll get the podcast on. We'll do a good review of that game. But yeah, as always, everybody watching along and also we'll catch up. Stay well and keep safe. Why are you laughing? Did I say catch up? I nearly did.
No, I didn't.
Stay well, keep safe, everyone.
Still got the comments off.